In the last episode of Pixar's Adventure Park, we built the ride and the main ride building itself, themed after Monsters Incorporated. Not only this, but we started the indoor queue as well. Hello and welcome back to Pixar's Adventure Park episode 4. In this episode, we are going to get to build the inside of the ride, which is going to look epic. So before we start, let me just give you the plan for what I'm going to do. So basically, the ride is going to start off in the station. It's going to come out and around the corner to the scare floor.
All scare floors are now active. Assistants, please report to your station.
It's going to sit here for a couple of seconds, and then the ride is going to launch outside of the scare room. Then over here, we are going to have the door vote, I think they call it. This in the movie is where they keep all of the doors hidden. So this will be a really cool and colorful looking room. But before we can get to that, the first thing we need to do is build this little corner. And there's a certain someone I want to put here.
Don't let it happen again. Yes, well, I'll try to be less careless.
But first of all, we just got to extend this room. We'll extend these walls out. We've got a basic floor, a basic structure done, and I'm going to put Roz around about here, I say. So first of all, we got to just build the booth that she sits in. Make that a little thinner. And then we got to make this like a metal color. We'll apply that. It's looking good. Then all we need to do now is add these sort of like bars here. We'll make these a really dark gray. There we go. Now we just got to put some glass in. Now that's pretty much done. I'm going to work on Rosalind. Now, originally I was going to actually try and build Roz, but so yeah, I'm probably not gonna bother trying. So what I'm going to do instead, it is a bit cheap and easy, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to make a good and effective looking Roz. I'm just gonna do this. There we go. Then in this room here, it's going to be a bit of a small room, but I'd like to build the lockers. So for that, we'll just quickly build one. We can just start spamming these absolutely everywhere. Now that we got the lockers pretty much all done, we'll also place down the seats that they sit on. This is a very basic room, but it's a nice little touch for those who have watched the movie. And then finally in this room, we're just going to add the ceiling. Then we can grab these lights and bring them into here. There we go, that looks nice. We'll also add the ceiling into this room here. Grab these lights once again. Just above Roz, the roof comes down a little bit just like that. Then what we can do is grab this light, put it there. There we go. This is starting to look really nice. Now this is where we can start to build the scare floor. So the first thing I'm going to do is just grab these floors, start placing them. Now this room is going to be really big. So as you can see, this is the type of size we're going to be going for. So the very first thing I'm going to build is where the doors actually get put. Now this is a pretty simple little build, so I'm going to quickly do this. Make that yellow, and then on the inside we'll make it black almost. Just like that is perfect. Then here we'll get a vibrant yellow and make it like that. Awesome. And for now, I'm just going to put this like that. There we go. And this is the size of the doors I'm going to be going for. Now, speaking of the doors, let's start to make them. The way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to make two separate doors. Once I've got those made, I should be able to change the color of them, copy them around, and it will look like I've got a heap of different doors. So here we have one door. We'll quickly just make this wooden. We'll add a very basic doorknob. There we go. I've now got 3 different doors. And what I can do now is just start coloring a bunch of these. There we go. I think this should be enough for now. If I want, I can add more and change the colors of some. The next thing I need to do is make the thing that holds the door on it. Then in this little area here, I'm just going to put a little light orb. And then I'm going to change this to red. And I'm going to change the range all the way down and change the brightness all the way down. There we go. That is looking nice. Now all I have to do is copy these to every other door. Just like that. Now that we got the doors made, there's just one more thing I got to make before we can move these into place down here. And that is the Monsters Inc laugh canisters, I think is what they're called. There we go. Very little simple, but it looks nice and it looks accurate. So now what we can do is we can get rid of this temporary little door and bring in one of these. Then we need to get one of these laugh canisters, or the scare canisters as it should be at this time. They're around here on a slight angle like that. Now what we can do is start to build the contraption that holds the door in. Add a pipe here connecting to the laugh canisters. And then this will be getting held up just like that. Awesome. So now we'll just place a couple more of these down along this hall. Now we can switch up the doors. Now that we got all the doors on this side, I'm going to start the back wall that's seen here. This is just like a very grey concrete. And then it actually starts to tilt a bit. Trying to make here is this, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like this like pillar effect almost, just like that. That's looking cool. Now we got to get some basic pillars here. These are of course like a metal sort of color. To make these look nicer, we are going to grab here they are. Now that we got that, we are just going to copy this across a bunch of times. And that is pretty much like that wall done. So I quickly decided to move these doors forward just so you can see them a bit better. Now we got this side of the room done. We need to get this side of the room done. And on this side, they have these really big pillars that we're going to build. So that is what the pillars should look like, and the roof will follow this pillar down. So before we copy these pillars over, I just want to make them look nice and smooth. So of course, again, we will grab these to the ground as well, just like that. That looks really nice and smooth. All right, another little detail they have is just like on here, it's like green for some reason. I don't know why, but there we go. Now we can copy these and put them in. That is starting to look nice. On second thought, I just want to quickly move this to side one more like that. That way we can fit one more in right there. Now what we can do is build this back wall, which you don't actually really see at all in the movies. And now we can work on the roof. Now this roof does look very simple, so I'm gonna just build it very simple. So we'll copy this over. Let's just quickly see this because this is looking awesome so far. That is so cool. And then you died, but that's fine, that's fine. Now the only thing really left to do is to build these desks that the Mike Wazowski people work at. I don't know what you call them, assistants maybe. So let's make those. One thing it looks like they do have is a bunch of these cartridges. So I'm just gonna place a bunch of these. They also have a bunch of other little bits and bobs here, but I can't really see what they are, so I'm just gonna build some random looking things. Like who knows what this is, but it's there. So one thing I can see, I think, is what looks like a computer monitor. So we'll build one of those like that. There we go. Now we can just copy these all the way over. We'll also need to flip this. Now that we got all these little desks done, I'm going to copy around this bunch of screen canisters and just spam these around in the back. Then we'll just place one like it's fallen over on the floor. There we go. And we can also place some up here behind. Now we got those placed around. I'm just going to quickly grab these like sort of wall texture things. I don't know what you even call these. I'll group these and then I'm going to copy them. I'm going to place them on this roof here. Now we'll just copy this all the way over. Now the next thing I'm going to do is add the lighting because it is really dark in here and I want to be able to see when I'm building. To do that, I'm just going to place these sort of supports like here and then place maybe two like this. We'll grab this light orb, place them in there. Now we can get rid of these light orbs. Then what else we'll do, I'm going to add some spotlights just around about here. It is so difficult just trying to work with the roof because you got to look like up. Now that I've got most of this done, the only thing I really have left to do is close in this back wall and then this front wall. I'll quickly also just add some minor little details onto this back wall. This is where you can see which scarer has the best score, so we'll quickly make like a little thing for that. Another thing I can see is just like a little red warning thing. So we'll place that just like around about here maybe. And then it looks like they have a clock. There we go. Now what we can do is pretty much just copy this on over to the other side, to around about here. But we can get rid of this, fill this in. Now around about here, we just have to add a little hole here. This is where the doors usually come from in the movie. This will lead to the door vault room. And then of course, because this is where all the doors go, we're gonna have to need to add the railing where that carries the doors. And now that we've got that, I think that's pretty much the scare floor done. Actually, there is one more thing we can do. There are windows in the scare floor around about here. So I'm just going to put in some base looking parts. Just like that. That helps so much. It just adds a little bit more color and it looks awesome. And I think that is pretty much good for the scare floor. Now this room, I have a really cool idea. It is going to be a really small room, but that's fine. So while I'm removing all these annoying little pieces of the roof, I'm just going to tell you the idea that I have for this room. When you get shot out of the scare room, I want you to be launched into this dark room, and at the end of the dark room there's going to be a door here, and you're going to go through the door and it's going to lead you into the factory. I'll probably include some really cool effects in this room as well, even though you don't see them traveling through the doors much in the movie. Have some cool lighting and stuff. It's going to be sick. Now we got this. I'm going to work on the door here. So I'll just grab a random door. We'll say this one. Now we're going to need to make this door pretty big just so the ride can fit through it easily. That should hopefully work. Now I've had to play around with this door quite a bit and make it like really wonky, extra large, just so you're able to actually fit through it. And I'm hoping that shouldn't be too much of an issue. But so far, I think the scare floor is looking sick. So hopefully this works well and it doesn't look too bad. Honestly, I think that works pretty well. Now that we got the scare floor and this little like transition room done, we can finally start building the door vault. Now this is going to be a pretty easy build, as you know, it's just very random and you just spam a whole bunch of doors down. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just outline this whole room to make it enclosed. If you're still watching the video at this point and you like what you see, then remember to like and subscribe. And if you want to get early access to videos, then you can join the membership down below. These perks include early videos, members only videos, and some special shoutouts at the end of my videos. Let's get back to it. Now that we got the basic room done, we can start to add the doors in. Now my basic plan is I'm just going to cover all the walls around this place with doors and then add some extra in the middle. So first, let's get to doing that. The way we're going to do this is just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste all the way around. Now the reason I'm using these blank doors is because I'm going to have multiple layers of these doors and I don't want to use too much space. So by doing this, it saves just a little bit of space because you're not going to even be able to see these doors. So what I've done is just made this whole wall filled with these blank doors, and I've changed the color of some of them. So now what I got to do is get these detailed doors and put them in front. Now that we got a good chunk of that done, I want to try and get some doors in the middle. So what I'm going to do is add some of the transportation lines for the doors from the movie, and we'll have some doors on that as well, so I can fill up the middle of the room a bit more. Now that I've got that done, I just have to place some doors onto it. Since I've got this one made, now I can place one here, here, over here, finally over here, and this one we'll place on another angle. Another thing I can add into this room are some massive pillars. We'll make them pretty basic, some curves on the top here. This is starting to finally look really cool. I think all that's left to do is just fill the remaining walls with doors. So let's get that done. So I'm not going to make you watch me do this because it legitimately took me hours, so I'm just going to cut to when I'm finished. I have now finished the Monsters Inc ride, and I didn't film the end of it because I was a bit sick and I could not be bothered to really narrate anything. So I'm just going to walk you through it now. So of course we've got this first massive room here, which is the scare floor, and I think it looks really awesome. You come up here and you go through this hole here, through this door, and this is where you come into the door factory, or the door vault, I think it's called. Now this room looks awesome. I love the colors of the red from the doors. It's just amazing. I ran out of money when I was building this, so I'm planning on filling this in just a little later when I have a bit more money. But overall, I think this looks really nice. Now this final room here is a very basic room where I just put a couple doors here and then it just leads to the exit. It's nothing special. It's kind of just like a holding area, I guess. Now that we've got that done, let's see the POV of it. Now, I'm not going to give you a full POV. I'm going to do that later when I've actually finished everything in the ride. I want to use some music and sound effects that are probably going to get copyrighted, so I'm going to make it its own separate video.
That's the way.
But overall, I think this looks incredible and really good. The ride is a bit short, but it is a really detailed and fun ride, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So that is the main ride done for this area. And next episode will be the final episode of Monstropolis, as we're going to move on to the left here and build the land here. What I'm going to do next episode is just fix up things like this, add some signs to buildings, you know, add some extra details around some benches, just like some quality of life stuff. If you want to see that, then remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.